This is the North Face VECTIV Pro 3. It's their flagship ultra racing shoe, and it's one of the best running shoes you can buy for long runnable ultras. But it's a lot of money and it ain't perfect. The VECTIV Pro 3 is the North Face's $290 flagship trail ultra racer, but on a new dual plate VECTIV 3 system with more stack than a Pro 2 and a refined upper. The buzz is that elite athletes are podiuming in these, and after putting miles in myself, I can understand why. They're super propulsive, very cushioned underfoot, and more stable than the stack height suggests. This is a specialized shoe with a specific job, so it's worth being clear-eyed on what this one's going to be best for going into buying this one, and I'm going to share all that in this review. But first, let's run through those key specifications. They cost $290. I'll let you know if they're worth that high price tag by the end of this review. They have a drop of 6mm, that's 37mm under the heel and 31mm under the forefoot. The upper's using a seamless engineered mesh with internal skeletal support frame, water repellency, and it's quick drying too. The midsole is using Dream nitrogen-infused TPU foam, that's a PEBA EVA compound with a secondary Dream foam insert and a really aggressive rocker geometry. Within that midsole you have that VECTIV 3 dual plate system, full length carbon fiber propulsion plate paired with a recycled carbon fiber wishbone stability plate. The outsole is using surface control rubber compound. It's got 3.5mm chevron style lugs and traction has been very good. When it comes to sizing and fit, I would go with the usual US sizing, but it's worth noting, even though this does have a medium width and medium fit overall, the toe box does taper a little bit, so you might notice that if you do have wider toes, there might not be enough room in that toe box for you. The heel and midfoot lockdown is really good. A lot of that is due to the gusseted tongue and that skeletal frame on the inside of the shoe. It also has serrated laces, which helps you really lock in and dial in that fit. It kind of just locks onto the threads, and it stays done up really well. But the geometry of the upper does lend itself to a nice race snug fit, which just locks your foot in and you're not wasting any energy on the run because of it. Note, this is a unisex racing shoe, so just check the sizing on the North Face website if you're not sure. If you're a lady looking at this one, then check that sizing just to be sure. One thing I will say about these laces though is they're very long. So I would double knot them just to make sure they don't come undone, but that will just help stop them flapping around. Unfortunately, there's no lace stow on here. That would definitely improve the performance of this shoe on the run, just to stop those laces flapping. And then finally, I would say the heel counter area does need a little bit of braking. So about 5 kilometers, it softens it up, and then you don't get any rubbing on the back of your heel, but you do need to break it in a little bit. If you're enjoying this review so far, please give the video a like. Really appreciate it when you guys do that. And comment on the video if you have had experience in this running shoe. I want to hear it, good or bad. Share whatever you can. It's really going to help anyone else who's looking to buy this racer, help them decide whether or not it's going to be worth it for them or not. So please comment down below. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell and I'll see you on the next review. I'm going to kick off my performance review with the ride and this dual plate setup here, tied in with the rocker geometry, because that's really what makes this one so special. It's just how efficient and snappy it is over longer distances on terrain that isn't too crazy technical. That's really where this one performs best. So this does have two plates. It's got that carbon plate on the bottom, and then you've got that wishbone stability plate on top. And what they do specifically is the stability plate stabilizes the shoe, because this foam is very cushioned and bouncy. Without a stability plate, you might be wobbling around a little bit too much, which is what you really don't want on the trails, because that causes instability and you're likely to roll an ankle if you didn't have some form of stability feature. So that's really cool to have. It also protects your feet from any debris on the trail, any sharp rocks, sharp roots, anything like that. It stops them piercing the midsole and digging into your feet. And then the propulsion plate, carbon fiber plate, really does just stiffen up the shoe even more, which makes it actually really hard for me to bend right now. I can't demonstrate bending it and letting go to show you the pop without risking actually snapping this plate. So what happens on the run is you do get to bend that because you've got the force and the speed from your actual running pace, bends it, stores the energy, releases it in forward motion. That's what the plate does. In practice, works really well on non-technical, long rolling ultra races. But if you are going to be using it on really technical terrain, I'm not a huge fan of carbon fiber plates because they just make the shoe that little bit too much or a little bit too rigid for me. I like to be able to use my foot or toe muscles to be able to stabilize myself and react to the trail as it comes up quick. A lot of people are going to love this plate for nice, easy trails and very long ultras because of the efficiency of it and the speed that it brings. It is very much an elite trail racing shoe, and that explains the $290 price tag. So if you are a beginner or an intermediate trail runner, I would probably just steer away from this one. You're going to be better off with a non-plated trail racer if you do want to be able to navigate technical trails too. Those plates combined with this aggressive rocker geometry, you can see it just curves around like that. All this rocker does is make your stride or your transition from heel landing to toe takeoff that little bit smoother. It just rocks you along and removes any jolting from your stride. And that's really important on long runs because if you do have a little jolt on every step over thousands and thousands of steps, your joints are going to feel that over time, and yeah, your legs won't thank you for it. So a rocker geometry like this is great. Pros and cons for sure though. Rockers on highly technical trails are not great. So again, that's what points this to that nice rolling trails, non-technical light trail, long ultra distance racing. When it comes to the ride feel, it's super propulsive, it's bouncy, it's fun, it's everything you would want on a racing shoe for running fast on light trails. It reminds me a lot of the On Cloud Ultra Pro, very similar ride feel to that one, and just as propulsive as that shoe as well. So if you are looking for an alternative, that would be the most direct one for me. Then talking to the Dream foam in the midsole, it's really nice. I like the balance. It's bouncy enough to feel fun over longer distances, but it's also cushioned and protective enough if you are going to be running long distances in these shoes, which is what they're designed for, and they protect your feet and they do give you support in that respect. So it definitely lends itself to long distance running, this one. When it comes to stability on the trails, it's actually pretty good. Relatively speaking, it has a 37mm stack height, and to anyone looking at that on paper might think, well, that's probably a little bit too high for a trail running shoe, especially a racing shoe. But actually in practice, because of this stability plate in here, it actually does a really good job of keeping you upright, helps support your ankles and your gait as you run. So don't worry about stability too much unless you take these on technical trails, like I said, and that plate will affect how you manage that terrain, not in a good way in my opinion. So just know what kind of trails you want to run in. If it's anything too technical, like really steep mountain trail running going up and down, these probably aren't going to be for that. And I'm going to caveat that by saying, sure, people can certainly run that terrain in a running shoe like this. No doubt. The more experienced runners out there will probably have no problem at all. But for the masses, for the most people out there, this won't be the best for technical trails. Moving on to the upper, it is incredibly breathable. Airflow through here is fantastic. I absolutely love it. If you're going to be running at a high intensity, it's great to have that breathability and airflow. Just keeps your feet nice and cool within the shoe. Also, if it does rain or you have a stream crossing, because it's got such an open mesh, it drains out really quickly, dries off very fast as well. So really good. I love how technical it is. It's also very durable too, so you're very unlikely to be tearing this material. Traction has been really good. Actually, I've been running mostly in dry terrain. I have had some wet sections, And although it's not quite as good as Vibram Mega Grip in the wet, because it is a little bit more harder, it's a harder compound, so you're going to leave less rubber on the trail. That does mean it's going to last longer than Vibram Mega Grip, but it does mean on really hard slick surfaces and in the wet it's not going to be quite as grippy. Just be aware of that. The biggest downside for me of a VECTIV Pro 3 is this toe bumper here. It is super hard on the inside, and I have experienced some toe slamming into the front of this toe bumper inside the shoe, and it's just too hard. It's not comfortable at all. Unless you really do lock your feet in properly in this shoe, when you're running down steep downhills, your feet will slip forward even just a little bit. And if they touch the front of this inside of a shoe, it's not a fun experience. It's way too solid. Really don't enjoy how that feels. And for me, that's the biggest downside of this running shoe, because it's something I really did notice on the run. And for me, comfort has to be nailed. If I'm going to be running an ultra marathon, I need to get comfort nailed first in a running shoe, because that's going to be the most important thing. If I'm out there running for 10 hours, my feet have to be as comfortable as they can be. And then my final downside is the weight. It's 10.7 ounces, which is not very lightweight for a trail racer, especially one that costs $290. If you're wondering how this performs against the competition, the ultra running shoes out there right now, well, follow that link up there. That will take you to my roundup of the best trail racing shoes. In there's a category for ultra running. You'll find out where this one places. It does very well, but it's not quite top 3, so check out that list if you're shopping around. You've made it to my final verdict. Is it worth $290? Well, the VECTIV Pro 3 is a very good shoe. There's a lot of cool features going on. It's highly technical in terms of how it's been put together, this dual plate setup, and the Dream foam is fantastic for running long distances. But $290 is a heck of a lot of money. There's not many trail running shoes out there that cost that. So I think you've really got to be competing at the top. You really got to be running on non-technical trails, long distances, for this shoe to work out best for you. And you're going to have to try it on, because this toe bumper, it was very uncomfortable for me at certain points in my runs, especially down steep declines. So you've got to try it on just to see if it works for you in your foot shape. If you've got the money to spare and you do want a high performance trail running shoe and that toe bumper doesn't affect you, then yes, there's a lot of really good stuff going for this running shoe, and I think it will be a really nice racing partner for you. But just be aware of those downsides that I pointed out, because this is not going to be for everyone. Well, I really hope you enjoyed the North Face VECTIV Pro 3 review. Hope it gave you the insights you needed to decide whether or not they're going to be the right ones for you or not. If you did enjoy it, make sure you like the video. I really appreciate it when you guys do that. And of course, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, and I'll see you on the next shoe review. Peace.